Out of every nation, there will be people rise. But those who don't want it will not get it. And they'll be left to face all of this. I want to be in the rapture. I want to be in the rapture. I want Jesus to come. Tremendous. Now, the kings of the east come across in verse 12, when the sixth angel. 13, I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouths of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. These are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God. Underscore that great day of God. Behold, I come as a thief. Behold, blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Verse 16, and they gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. That's where it happens. That's where it's mentioned. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. 19, and the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in the remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Can you imagine such an earthquake? And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Now, chapter 17, and this becomes very interesting. This is the fall of the harlot church. So above chapter 17, right, fall of the harlot church. And it's the religious fall. Verse 1, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgments of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Underscore many waters. And look down at verse 15. And here's Revelation. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. That's why I said the Antichrist sent a flood. He sent an army by his command after those fleeing Jews. And by the way, going back to that for a moment, there are groups of Christians that understand a lot of what I'm saying. When those man-child Jews come marching out of Edom at the Battle of Armageddon, they will take Jerusalem to the half of the city. You find this in Zechariah chapter 14. And they will be powerful. Right now, there are Bible societies that in the files, the caves of that area in Edom, they are stashing in there thousands and thousands of copies of the New Testament. Those Jews will be there for 3.5 years, and they're trusting they will find those New Testaments and read and study and become believers in Jesus. Is that not amazing? That's amazing. Back to verse 1. So the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. There's no sex involved here. You should write in there in parentheses, no sex involved. It's a mixture of religion and wickedness. That's what the fornication is. It's a spiritual fornication. It's the mixture of wickedness and religion. Verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads, that's 7 forms of government. It's the Roman Empire. And 10 horns. There were 10 nations in the Roman Empire. It goes back to Daniel 7 and 7. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of saints, with the blood of martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. Verse 9, Here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, 7 forms of government. But also, Rome is built on 7 mountains, and I've been to all 7 of them. On top of every mountain, there's a Catholic Church. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 7 forms of government in this Roman Empire. So in verse 10, you should underscore 7 kings. 5 are fallen. In other words, at the time that John wrote this, 5 forms of government within the Roman Empire had already fallen. One is, John wrote in that 7th form. That's where he lived, in the 7th form of government in the Roman Empire. And the other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast, underscore beast, that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7. He's not an 8th. He is of the 7th form of government, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and the King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. Those are the necessary ingredients to living for God. Called, chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. In other words, the political power will ride upon the power of this woman or this Roman Catholic Church. Look at this. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. Look at verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Rome reigned over the kings of the earth at the time that John wrote this book of Revelation. And Rome is built on 7 hills. And one of the largest Catholic churches is 2,500. And I've been there. It's powerful. In fact, the Roman Catholic Church has martyred more people than any other single institution in the world. And they admit it. The reason that Jews have had such a difficult time with Christianity is because the only Christianity they know is the church from church history. They don't know that there are Judeo-Christians like us. A Judeo-Christian is one who believes in one God, who preaches exactly what the apostles preached in 33 AD. So when I witness to a Jew, I say to them, I'm not what you suppose. I believe in one God the way you do. I am a Judeo-Christian. Jews are very well educated. They know from that I believe what the early Christians believed in the beginning, that I'm not connected to the church that evolved in church history. I am not a Catholic. I am not a Protestant. The word Protestant, the etymology is to protest. That movement was born out of the Dark Ages against the Roman Catholic Church. I'm not a Catholic. I'm not a Protestant. I'm not protesting anything. I am an apostolic Christian. I go all the way back to 33 AD. The others just evolved. I didn't evolve. I came into being with an experience from God, born again of water and spirit. It puts you in a whole different class, a whole different category. Clap your hands and just rejoice in that for a moment, because Jesus found you and gave this to us. Powerful. But the understanding that the Jews have of Christianity. During the Spanish Inquisition, they pulled millions of them apart on the racks. They brought Jews into magnificent Roman Catholic churches, gold and marble altars, and because they would not embrace Christianity, they beat their brains out and they fell on the marble floors in the cathedrals, in the Catholic churches. That is what Jews know about Christianity. So within my lifetime, there was a time in my early years, if you went to a Jew and told him you're a Christian, they would spit on the ground at your feet. But they have discovered in our day that there are Christians who are pro-Israel, who do not worship as the church in history worshipped. And it was Menachem Begin who discovered that the evangelical Christian was the greatest friend to Israel. In fact, it had such an impact that under one administration here, we signed, millions of signatures on a scroll and sent them to Menachem Begin, supporting him and the nation of Israel. It shook everything. Christianity has had such an influence on the government of Israel that they now have a Christian party recognized in the Knesset within the government of Israel. They say that evangelical Christians are the best friends they have, even better than the Democrats in America. Because we support them, we fight for them. Is that not amazing? All of these things are happening. See, people, well, you live for God or don't live for God, or you're all just grinding around in ruts of nonsense on little things that aren't going to matter in 100 years from now anyhow. All these incredible things are happening every day, every day. There's all kinds of things. There's enough in the news media that ought to cause you to come to church and just run the aisles and shout and dance. You ought to be, instead of these weak praise the Lords we have when we come to church, we ought to be grabbing each other and say, did you hear the news? Jesus is coming. The Bible is coming alive. Jesus is coming. Prophecy is taking place. We are seeing prophecy taking place every day. 19. 18. This is the political, I can really get into this, political or commercial fall of Babylon.